So, Sophia, I thought this week's episode would be great to cover the latest social media conference that I just attended. I went to the Reagan Disney social media conference in Orlando, and there's so many takeaways, so many things that I think our listeners would love and things that I want to share with you. So I'm excited to dive into it this week.
Yeah, so many new trends and behaviors that we can see and really implement for our clients. So this is great.
Yes, and for people who don't know about this conference, it's one of the largest social media conferences. Reagan and PR Daily, they host it. And they bring in the biggest names in social media to speak. And then a lot of these companies also attend.
Yeah.
So there was speakers from Life is Good, Southwest Airlines, Alaska Airlines. There's been Wendy's. There literally has been almost every brand you could think of. There was Shein, the social media manager of Shein.
Gosh.
Like anybody you can think of, any company that has to do marketing, which almost every company does. They pretty much send someone there. It was interesting too, because I even saw religious groups send their social media managers there. Like the Church of Latter-day Saints, they had a whole social media team there. So it was interesting.
Everyone's social.
Exactly. So it was just wild to be around people who do what you do. And it was fun also to be around people who can like kind of, whine and complain about how social media, the algorithms and everything's always changing.
Like an emotional support group.
Literally. But then also kind of get to pick each other's brains and get to see what they're doing. And yeah. So a big thing that came out of this conference was that social media is now a search engine. And we've talked about that in earlier episodes. And for people who don't realize, July 10th, which is actually my birthday, that's when Instagram started implementing SEO into posts and being able to search it.
Yeah.
So basically now that social media is becoming a search engine, that means a lot of AI tools like ChatGPT and now Claude are also using social media posts to find answers. So that means social media is discovery, search, and AI driven for answers. And even Google, if you search on Google now, I don't know if you've noticed, you'll see an AI response before the links.
I see AI overview. And what I was going to say is, like, I know, like, I myself am victim of, like, using platforms, especially TikTok, like, for search before Google.
Yes.
So if you're not there on social, like, you're missing a huge market.
Definitely. And if you're not optimizing at all, you're missing out. And if you've noticed some of those Google AI overviews, when you search, it takes almost half the page. The links are coming at the end. People are seeing that first. And some of it is wrong, or some of the information is not really valid. So if you're not taking advantage of making sure that your posts are AI readable, literally have to like make your posts readable for robots, then there could be false information going out there, or your customer could miss, you.
Which is tricky as like a social media manager, because you have to like make sure it's digestible for robots, but it's really intended for its viewers and real people.
Exactly. And that's something I've noticed of some people try to be cheeky on Instagram and do short captions.
Yes.
And I'm telling everyone now, add a couple keywords, add a sentence about what you do.
Hashtags are great.
Exactly. Even like one of our clients, she's a realtor, like us even adding like, what she does, or South Florida real estate, or some sort of keywords in there. So when people are search, it pops up. You really can't just be cheeky and do a short caption anymore if you want to show up.
Aesthetic.
Exactly.
That's not going to work.
No, you kind of have to stuff it, almost like stuffing keywords in a blog. You need to stuff it in captions.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I also learned that they're not just reading it on captions. So AI tools and search are reading it also on-screen text. So the text that we're adding to graphics, to videos, also in comments.
Okay.
And then also another big tool that people are kind of slacking on, which I know personally I am, is Reddit.
I love Reddit.
So
I know many people are like positioning their brands for Reddit.
Yes.
Like commenting and saying like, oh, like if you have this problem, like this cream works, etc. But I love the point that you said about the captions, because I still see people to this day posting videos when they're talking and they're not adding on-screen captions, which it's really so easy to do so with all these AI apps. Like, we love captions. It's so easy. You drop it, AI will do it for you.
And even Instagram edits, they really improved their captions tool. So even if you don't want to get a separate tool, you can use that one, and it's gotten a lot better than it used to be. And then Reddit, like I love it personally as well.
Yeah.
But I really have been, I say slacking on like for Goat and for some clients, getting them on Reddit because it's kind of been, I don't want to say the Wild West because it's been around, but it almost is being treated like the Wild West.
Circling.
Because exactly, because a lot of brands were afraid of it. And even it was Southwest Airlines at the conference. They were talking about how they're doing like just one post a month and seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to test, and we're going to test it for Goat and some of our other clients. But Reddit is really big because it's such a text heavy platform. These AI tools and Google and search engines, they are filtering Reddit posts to give answers. So it's like a surefire, easy way to help establish your brand.
I mean, I know when I Google, I don't know if you see this, but like for certain things that I am Googling, like Reddit is usually like the third option. Like people, whatever people are discussing about. And I'm like, okay, let's see what the rest of America says. And it's like funny because like 3 years ago, 10 years ago, or
It lasts pretty long on there. The shelf life is a lot longer than an Instagram post that goes away in a day.
Exactly.
So in short, for that main takeaway, if AI cannot understand your content, it will not surface in search results. And as people are using, social media tools, like you said, you're using it more for search, more than Google.
Yeah.
You want to be able to show up there.
Yeah.
So really make sure that your content is clear, structured, easy to interpret. The first line is critical.
Yes.
And add context more than cleverness. You can still be witty, you can still be fun, but make sure you include context somewhere.
Yes. It just like always remember and think about like someone who doesn't know your brand and this is the first post they see. Are they going to scroll or are they going to stop and really read? If you're giving them nothing, they're just going to scroll because
Exactly.
there's nothing to look at.
Couldn't agree more. Another thing that was huge at this conference, which you and I know about, but a lot of clients or people listening might not know, is that there's a big shift in strategy of moving from volume to intentional structured content. So what that means is it's not doing 30 posts a month. Maybe it's doing 10 to 15 posts a month, but those 10 to 15 really serving a purpose, really having a bucket that they fill or a content pillar that they fill. Maybe having some of those be really great edited videos, some of them be more organic photos, but it's more intentional content than we need a post a day.
Yeah. I mean, we've had plenty of clients who have 30 posts and we literally see the numbers speak for themselves. The engagement increasing once we reduce it even like to 20 posts, 15 to 20.
Yeah, it's not about volume, it's the intentionality.
Exactly.
And every platform should serve a purpose. And we talk about that a lot with our clients in the sense of, we can create content and they might say, can you just slap this photo or slap this video on every platform? And it's like, well, we have to adjust it for the platform. Like, yes, we can repurpose content for platforms, but maybe the links have to change or the hashtags have to change or the format or the goal of that post has to change.
It just won't work. I mean, depending on your audience, like no one on LinkedIn wants to see what you're posting on Facebook. Not always, but like,
it has to
make
fit.
sure that it's catered to each platform because then it feels and it is intentional and people can feel it and it shows.
Exactly. Like one of our clients, they're in healthcare, and what I'm posting for them on their Facebook pages versus what I'm posting on LinkedIn are very different.
Yeah.
I mean, their clientele is people who are more low income, on Medicaid, so they're going to be on Facebook, but LinkedIn is not that clientele. LinkedIn is future employees, current employees, and partners and sponsors. So we're really positioning their brand very differently, but it still all works together. And every now and then there might be a great blog post that works for both, but it's still repurposing and making sure we understand the purpose of each platform. And there was a lot of stress on that this conference.
I mean, even same with our other recruiting client, obviously LinkedIn is great, but their Facebook and Instagram, it's more for those who actually need the work versus those like companies like HR obviously will be on LinkedIn, but those who will be working these positions, you'll find them on Facebook.
Definitely.
Positions. So it's just like same company, different strategy for each platform.
Exactly. And someone else brought up at the conference, which was great. One of the speakers said the 3 functions of social, which I think people forget that social has a lot of functionality and it's constantly changing. But right now, the 3 main functions that social can be used for is obviously communicating. So that's your reach, your messaging. The second one is listening. So that audience insight, sentiment, risk. What are people talking about? And then the third one is optimizing for search and AI visibility. If you're using social for all 3 of those functions, your brand is going to do well. But if you're ignoring the other aspects of social and just posting to post, it's not going to survive in 2026.
Yeah. And I feel like obviously that last one of AI is really the one that really shifted and changed. So what we're doing today won't work what you were doing in 2022. So you
Exactly.
really need to alter it.
Exactly. And when I looked at all my notes, I took, oh my gosh, I think 15 pages of notes. I was able to narrow down 4 best practices from a couple different speakers that had some overlap of what people were talking about. And those 4 were having clear hooks and first line contacts, like we discussed, having natural language keywords, like we've said. You know, you want to be able to readable for search, for AI. It can't be like a secret language there or like too many acronyms. Descriptive, specific messaging. And then the 4th one is avoiding inside jokes without context. So if you're going to have them, add the context, but it just can't be like, you know, this is a cute video of me and my friends, or, you know, just launched, you know, 3 new tops. And everyone's like, but tops of what? You know, like really getting, really getting specific.
You know, share what these tops, like the focuses, fabrics, how you can wear it, style it, like really just give the people more.
Exactly. And one of our latest episodes, we talked about marketing in-house versus agency. And it was interesting because a lot of even in-house people were saying that they're very limited on time because they might be the only social media manager for their team, where some people, like their marketing team, but some people might have a social team of, like, I think it was the Tampa airport. They have a social team of like 10 people.
Wow.
So they can really do a lot. So there are some companies, though, that have literally 1. So they talked about operational insights, and this is even good for even our clients in the sense of, you know, everyone wants to do everything on social media, but what is your budget? So sometimes you have to decide, you know, not every platform deserves equal effort. Where are your primary platforms? Where are your secondary platforms? And then what platforms do we not need to even do? Like, you want to put your focus where it matters.
Yeah. I mean, we even work with plenty of marketing teams, and they have to funnel their social to us because it's so much. And now we're finally on a roll where we can include these funny moments, like again, for our recruiting. Like they were like, we're so happy this month that you guys are helping us, and we're able to include like funny, real things that like resonate with their brand because they have the leeway since we're here to help them.
Exactly. Another one is overproduction lowers quality. And we see this as well.
Yes.
You know, if you are, even for a large agency, a small agency, in-house, whatever it is, when you are just churning content to churn, the quality is going to go down. It's not going to have that same feel of like, wow, I took a long time to make this great, or we had eyes to edit it and going back and forth. So it's avoiding that churn feeling and keeping the quality.
That's when it starts to just feel like redundant and like nothing really new.
Exactly.
Which there's a difference. And we always say this, like staying on brand and then just like really like evolving and like refining your content to really like, wow, because there's always new trends and just behaviors.
Yes. And another one, the last one, big one here is speed without clarity creates rework. I saw this recently. Recently we had a client who may be listening, but they kind of had to learn the hard way in a sense of they wanted something ASAP. I think it was a weekend or I was away or it was, and you know, we have agency parameters of like you submit a request or we do calendars and everything kind of falls into a process. And it was outside of the process. They didn't want to wait. So they did it themselves and it had major spelling error. It wasn't posted right. It wasn't formatted properly. And then they wanted me just to redo it all. So that just caused rework and it wasted time and effort and the algorithm because they had to remove it. Then I had to redo it. So honestly, take a breather, take a moment. Nothing is that much of a rush in social media. We're not saving lives. We're not performing heart surgery and we're not resuscitating anyone, right? Like we can take a moment, can edit it, make it really great, get it approved by the right people and then get it up.
And then also what I was going to say is people notice when you post something and delete it, and so does the algorithm. So when you try again, it may not perform as it originally did, even with those errors because of that reason. So that's why it's important to take a moment, like you just said, and we can fix it within the schedule. It doesn't have to be ASAP.
Exactly. And then going on to video. Obviously, video continues to dominate. It was a big part of the conference, but the kind of trends are changing around video. That short form, you know, it's still a priority, but long form is regaining value. People are really falling into like a part 1, part 2, and like a series type video because people want to, I know even for myself, I can auto scroll or can set videos to play after the next one. So like if you're getting ready, doing dishes or doing the laundry, it's nice to have a series to watch.
Yes. Or I love on TikTok, people like creators, like I follow this esthetician and she has like subcategories and
Yes.
there's like series on like everything like acne specialist, whatever.
Yeah.
And I can like just full dive, watch that and have everything I need.
Exactly. And perfection is no longer the goal. We've been telling our clients this forever. I mean, we even say it about ourselves. Even when we were setting up today to film the podcast, it's like, how's my hair? How's this? How's that? And it's like, no one's really going to be like, oh, that girl on the podcast with the hair or like, you know, her top. What like we think of all these things. People just want the content.
Yeah.
And people want to share the content. And when you think about when you're watching, are you picking apart your own video or other people's videos? No. We just pick apart ourselves, obviously.
We're always going to be our biggest critics. And I've seen it a lot with our clients is they don't want to post it because I've had one feedback. It's like, well, my wife doesn't like how I look in this video.
Yeah.
Like, really? We have to take it down now because your wife doesn't like it. It's not about that. It's about not just posting content, but it's about like being part of the algorithm's feed. And like, you're never going to get there if it's always like not perfect.
Exactly. And some best practices with videos, and we tell our clients this a lot. This first one is open with insight, not the intro. So you never want to start with like, hi, I'm Kassie Myler, the director and founder of Goat Social Media. And let me tell you about too long. You lost everybody.
3 seconds too long. You know, we have 3 seconds to grasp us and you just wasted like 10.
Exactly. So you can add who you are. You could add your credentials at the end of the video, you know, and by the way, this is what I do, or by the way, I'm Kassie or whatever.
And you could sprinkle it in every couple.
Exactly.
You know?
Not every video.
People are like most likely going to your feed and scrolling through a couple what you have. So they'll be able to gain as they scroll.
Yes. And then also focus on repeatable formats. You don't have to recreate the wheel for every single video. If something's working, do it weekly, do it monthly, you know, make it a series. Exactly. Don't have to make every video be some new grand idea.
New like campaign or.
Exactly. Prioritize value over polish. Like we said, really give something. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. I mean, even for the podcast on my personal Instagram, every week people know I'm probably doing a video from my car being like, it just dropped. I'm so excited for listening to the episode as I head into the office. People are used to that. And the video in the car is not perfect. My hand is like shaking. I should just get a tripod at this point. My hand is like shaking. Sometimes there's cars behind me. Like the background is literally my car. Yes. Yeah. But the value is there. And then also use AI to scale production, but don't replace your voice. So still keep it you.
Yes.
But you can use AI, like we said, to add captions, to auto cut, to add music.
Yeah, or I mean, you could use like a background and you can like use AI to like so you're like a talking head. Those are great. But we don't need to fully start to finish AI. That is like the worst.
Exactly. So video is still leading, you know, on engagement and impressions, a lot of platforms, but carousels are still really strong on Instagram and even growing on LinkedIn. People don't realize for a LinkedIn carousel, it has to be a PDF. It's a file that you upload and then it turns into a slider. If you've not done those before, try them.
It's really like a flip book. And honestly, as you're scrolling LinkedIn, if you notice a little bit closer, you can see we're talking about the flip book and it just makes such a difference for the user experience.
Yeah, and LinkedIn, the algorithm will reward you for using it. And then polls, that came up a lot. They're very underrated for an engagement driver. For LinkedIn, for Instagram stories, getting people to Instagram engage.
Stories.
Yes.
It's an oldie but a goodie, I feel like.
Exactly. So the key takeaway there is speed plus clarity plus consistency is way better than highly produced video content. Just get it out there, but get it out there with value. Yeah. We talked about metrics a lot at this conference, which that's always a topic because in social media, if we can't prove what we're doing and we can't show results and we can't show growth, someone's not going to keep us as an agency. They're going to go, okay, well, I'm going to go to the next agency. I'm also big on never promising anything like of sort of like, I'll promise growth, I'll promise improvement, but we're not going to lie to
consistency.
Lie to be like, you're going to get 1 million followers when you sign with us next month.
You're going to get 10 people walking in your door. Like, that's not something we can control. And if it is, it may not be authentic or real also.
Exactly. So because the way platforms are shifting, that means vanity metrics are losing importance because followers don't really matter anymore. Followers are not seeing your content. If we're looking at analytics, maybe like 5% of followers for brands are seeing the content. It's mostly getting discovered by people who are interested. So it's more about the discoverability than the followers and more that impact when you're looking at metrics.
I mean, I know when we pull analytics, a lot of times when we see these video views, Instagram literally has a chart of like 50% followers, 50% non-followers.
Exactly.
So it's really split in half. And, you know, as you're scrolling, anyone scrolling on Instagram Reels, like you're seeing all these reels of people you don't know.
No.
That's fine.
And for brands, it's really not split in half. It's really a lot less.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure what to measure, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. If you want to measure awareness, you need to look at reach. How many people are you reaching? If you want to measure interaction, you need to look at engagement. How many people are taking action? If you want to look at repeat consumption, you need to look at retention. If you want to see how many actions are being taken, look at conversion. Those 4 metrics are way more important than how many followers do I have.
And likes a post got.
Exactly. And I loved this. A speaker brought up return on attention instead of return on investment. So he did ROAC. And that all comes into play with reach, register, retain, resonate, refine. So it's a lot of R's, 5 R's. But basically all that breaks down is how you're getting the return on the eyeballs. You know, are people taking action? Are they sharing? Are they engaging? It's not just, are they buying?
Are you like, I like resonate a lot because like, are you creating an emotion? Because that can sell more than whatever else sale you have going.
Yes.
You know?
And I even saw another agency share on Instagram, and it relates to this. They said, none of my clients like my posts. Which is funny because it's true in the sense of like, just because she's not getting likes on her post doesn't mean she's not getting clients and she's not busy.
They're hiring not getting new clients.
Right. They're hiring you to do the social media. Likely they're not even on social media themselves. Yeah. So you need to figure out how you're going to reach your clientele, but also not get down in the dumps if you think like, oh, I only got 20 likes on this video, but are you busy?
Yeah.
Are you getting sales?
I mean, that reminds me of one of our clients who were like nationally known for having like a 6 or 7 figure business, but if you look at their followers, you would not think that it's like under 1,000 followers just because it's very niche. Right. Industry, and you know, that's fine, no, but not many people follow it.
And most of their clientele is not looking to follow them on social,
anyways,
but
they're there for brand awareness.
Exactly.
And showing and sharing what they do.
Yes. And if someone recommends them and they look them up, they're going to show up and they're going to be updated on every platform.
And they're going to see, okay, they're still in business.
Yes.
They're posting.
So and they might see them.
An example.
Yes, and they might see them and say, okay, they're great. I'm going to call them and book them right now and still never follow them. Like I have a friend who even used them for their own house. And because he sees all the stuff that we do and it kind of gets shared in the algorithm because we're liking it as well, he still doesn't follow them. He has no need to follow them. He got the service and he's good.
There's plenty of, services that I indulge in and I don't follow all of them. I mean, I text them and I get the emails to book it and it's fine. I don't need to follow it.
Or like a restaurant. Sometimes you go to a restaurant that night you want to
actually follow.
Right. But you want to look at the menu or you look it up or you want to see if they're open or you want to see, oh, that's a vibe. Let's go there.
See their photos of their
food. And that's enough.
And we leave.
Exactly. So don't get stuck on that. And basically key takeaway there is less metrics, more clarity. Tell a story with the data. So like an agency for us, we're not just sending the reports to a client. We're giving them an overview of what it means, what we're working on, really trying to tell a story and not just, here's 1,000 impressions, like whoop-de-doo.
A lot of them will say, well, what do impressions mean?
Exactly. And then benchmark performance over time. We're really big on that. So if a client says like, well, how have we been doing since we started? It's important that we look at those first reports and we look at the latest reports and we can see over time the improvement and the growth. Our final roundup of this conference is what actually works right now. I mean, that's important. And people want to know, of course you can keep improving social media and be on social media all day long, but you want to really be there efficiently. And like we've always said, and we're going to say it again, I feel like we'll say this on every podcast episode, authenticity wins.
Yes.
Human first content performs best. People connect with people, not brands.
Yes.
And we're seeing it more and more and more. And it came up a ton at this conference.
Especially with AI, it's very important that we don't replace ourselves. It's never going to happen. But like we said, utilize it.
Yes. And user-generated content builds trust. 84% of people are more likely to trust a brand using UGC than not. And the way to do it is to give creators guidelines, not scripts. Some of the best UGC we get is because people genuinely love a product, not because we said, please say XYZ in your video.
And you can kind of tell, like, when a creator, like, has to say they love a product 4 times.
Yes.
Because that's usually, like, a benchmark for these influencers.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, we heard you, like, why else do you like it?
Right. It feels fake.
Scripted.
Yeah. And then prioritize real over polish. Someone like Bethany Frankel, for example, whether people love her or hate her, she was on the Real Housewives of New York. She's become a big influencer for her takes of, she has a lot of beauty takes and just reviews in general.
Just reviews.
She's real. She's literally like, sometimes has no makeup on. She's in pajamas. She's just in her closet, giving it straight. Yeah. People love that. Does not need to be this super perfect hair done, glamour shot, video.
Headshot.
No.
Cover photo. No.
And then community matters. So engagement beyond posting. We always talk about this. Comments, threads, even Reddit, like we talked about. Really trying to build a community around what you're doing and your brand. I get it. Not every brand has like a community feel or a viral feel, but then it's finding out how can you make that work. One of the examples was there was like the Association for PAs was there. And they talked about, okay, like physician assistants, like it's a pretty like serious like profession. Industry. They're pretty busy. How do you get people to get involved in the association? They got a lot of them to become ambassadors and use them to kind of create a community of real people. And then those people know people who joined. And it kind of just made their like own little bubble. Yeah. Yes. By using people who would be in it anyways.
Yeah.
And then the community kind of fell into place naturally. So it's finding where you could do that. Because social media is two-way, not one way. We're not a billboard. Yeah. We're not a magazine. We have the option to really engage back and forth.
An email, like you don't want to just delete it. And
exactly.
But I was going to say community will always outweigh followers, like we just said.
Yes.
In metrics.
And another favorite part of this conference was Life is Good. That brand they talked about, they really they don't post a ton of content, but they talked about, I mean, they do a good amount, but the way they break it down, which I think a lot of brands could copy, is they do in their content mix, 60% is the always on content. So like the regular content you always see, you know, just branding, photos. It's 60% is that generic in a sense. 30% is experiments. So they might do a new video, a new graph, something interesting.
New to add to the
exactly. Mix. And then 10% of it are big bets. So they call that big bets in the sense of like, they're putting a lot of budget into something, or they're hoping something's going to really take off. And that means if they're doing 60% of the content always on, 30% experiments, they're only focusing 10% on the big bets. That's about 1 or 2 pieces of content a month when I broke it down.
And that is
not that bad.
That is great to like test and see what works.
Exactly.
See if they need to increase it,
and it's not putting budget to every single post and going
a big strain on your budget either.
Exactly. And, you know, really big there is that consistency and clarity will outperform those viral moments sometimes.
Yeah.
So final takeaways from this conference. If you take nothing else from this episode, social media is now a search engine. Content must be optimized for AI and discovery. Clarity over creativity. Strategy over volume. And authenticity is required. It's not optional anymore.
Yeah. Social media is no longer just about posting. It's about being found, understood, and trusted.
Exactly.